So when it begins, we come to Clara basically losing Nanny by accident, and then and then as the episode progresses, we see a lot of what the trailer suggested to begin with, and we see that Clara has completely lost it out of trauma and thought that she was throwing TARDIS keys into lava, but in fact she wasn't. It was all simply an hallucination. It was a great episode. I loved it. It was one of those episodes that you just think, well, okay, it rounded off everything, and throughout this series, it's been building up to this. And yes, I agree. Moffat's right. It was very much like season 5 overall. I mean, you had little snippets of what Missy was throughout the entire series. Her actions, etc. But again, I will have to say this. It was kind of obvious, I thought. The twist, at least. I mean, I just wish that it would have been another Time Lord, at least. I mean, yes, the Master is an old enemy. Yes, very old. And yes, also, the Doctor and the Master should never, or they shouldn't be separated, because they're the opposite of each other, really. So they balance each other out. Without one or the other, the show would be imbalanced. It just wouldn't work. And so, yeah, I think, I wish it could have been Romana. I think, it would have been nice to see her back. Or Susan. That would have been really interesting. Well, mind you, Susan would have really had to have lost it between point A and point B to do that to the Doctor. But, no, I just think other Time Lords really need to come back besides the Master. I think, yes, the Master is pretty prime in terms of the timeline. But no, I think it was about time for another Time Lord to come back, and I think this not only paved the way, despite that, the Master coming back not only paved the way for other Time Lords to come back, but it also proved that yes, there might be a female Doctor on the way. Now, what do you think about that? I know there's been a few theories about that, on and off, and I'll go into that later on into the review. But yeah, here we go. Good to see you guys, and well. So yeah, well, all in all, really great episode. I mean, it starts off, as I said earlier on in this video, with Danny losing Clara, completely out of the blue. And then Clara ends up in a mopey stage. Well, not a mopey stage, that was a bit harsh. Grieving stage, which is understandable. Then she meets up with the Doctor, and then we see stuff in the trailer, as I said previously. And she thinks she's fooling the Doctor into throwing out all the TARDIS keys. But again, I will have to say, despite the fact that that was clearly understandable, given that she was grieving, that probably wasn't the smartest thing to do, because how is the Doctor supposed to help you if you aren't allowing him to go into the TARDIS? Draw back in time to save Danny. So, yes. And then we get a few things with, the Doctor and Clara, where they pretty much smooth out their relationship and where they stand. I mean, 12's great quote was basically about, what do you think, I don't care that much about you, but betraying me will make a difference. And yeah, so he just pretty much leveled it with her entirely. And so then she basically deals with that, and then they come to what is known as, well, or 3W complex, a mysterious organization which we still don't know much about, basically involved with looking after the dead. And we find out later that Missy is in charge of that organization, and well, then we switch to Danny, and Danny is confronted with a whole lot of his past, and we see a lot more of character building for Danny, which is a really good thing. I mean, we heard that he did something in a battle, in a war, and that he's traumatized about it, but to find out what it actually was, wow. I mean, if you're in that position, that would be pretty intense. And so, yeah, and we also meet Seb. Now, Seb, again, you can only really do this in Doctor Who, this well at least. Seb brings a interesting, how can I put this, calm and comical, almost comical attitude to heaven, or the nethersphere, or death. He's just very casual about it, and it's just, very blasé. I love that approach. It made me laugh, to be honest with you, in the episode. And it was just, it was perfect. I mean, the lines, do you need a plastic bag? Or, would you like coffee? While sitting in a reception office was absolutely perfect. And the line about Wi-Fi, we have Steve Jobs, that says it all. It really does. So yeah, and then we flick back to Clara and the Doctor again, trying to figure out what this complex is and why there are dead bodies in basically fish tanks. And we find out that it's a dark water thing, or a dark water compound, which allows you to see the skeleton, kind of like X-ray water really, of the deceased. And they're not really deceased, but we'll find out about that later, in that they're actually Cybermen, and they've been upgraded. And that all the dead people, their minds have been uploaded to a matrix of some kind, which is basically like an internal dimension that's just been wrapped inside something. So yeah, that's happened. And then when, oh my god, Missy, when she ominously kills Dr. Chang with, the say it nicely, say it nicely. That kind of nice but really evil kind of undercurrent. It was the perfect mix for, well, the Master. It was really perfect. I didn't see a problem with it. It was absolutely gold. And so yeah, I mean, the whole episode as a whole, it was filled with a lot of questions. And it really rounded off a lot of the hints we were getting from other episodes. Like how Missy's been doing this, and where the nethersphere is, and also raised a lot of questions about who Clara is as well, which we still have yet to discover whether or not she's still on our side or not. But we'll see. So yes, well, I guess to sum up the entire episode, and since I can't really do a complete review because it's a two-parter, and this review will also go in two parts as a result, it was pretty good, aside from the fact that the twist at the end was a little obvious. So I'd probably give around about 4 stars, which is what, other reviewers gave it, which is fair enough. There are a lot of elements in it which were spot on and summed up everything. Oh, and again, Clara and Danny what she did. I heard some people going, how could she, blah, blah, blah. But the fact is, 12 was right in giving her that advice. You don't know, if you go into that situation, put yourself in her shoes, you wouldn't know the truth. And quite frankly, there can be some very good manipulators in Doctor Who universe. So she'd know that you wouldn't know the truth, and you need to find out the truth. So in that sense, her reaction was completely understandable. Absolutely completely, and I couldn't falter on one thing. Okay, so I hope you like the review, and see you next week for part 2. See you later, guys. Oh, and check out Clara and the TARDIS and the Whoniverse, a partner page of Clara and the TARDIS, and This is Gallifrey, another partner page of Clara and the TARDIS. See you later, guys.